Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Ready to Love, Season 4, Episode 8, entitled The X Factor. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I have all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. This week, the ladies meet at the Miles home, which is absolutely beautiful. They are greeted by Miss Jacqueline, and they sit down and tell everybody to just get comfortable. Tommy sits down, joins everybody. He explains that him and his wife go way back. They met in college in 1986, and they have connections that are just unexplainable. She knows when he doesn't want to be bothered. She knows when he's mad. He knows how she's feeling. So they just share a moment to be transparent and that they really love each other, and they've gotten to learn each other over the years. This week, the women need to introduce their male interest to their exes. Now, it might be a little uncomfortable, but watch how the men react. Are they jealous? Also get the responses of your exes concerning your new male interest. We start with Venetia and her ex, David. She gives him the rundown that she wants him to meet the new person that she's digging and just to give his 2 cents after they meet and have a little lunch. David's reaction when he sees Joel arrive is hilarious. He kind of gives the eyebrow down like, is this the new guy that she has interest in? Joel learns that David is her ex. He says in his production clip that he was respectable because he didn't know who the guy was. He didn't know if it was a cousin or brother or what. As they have the brief conversations of getting to know one another, he's quick to just ask David it's something that he really wants to know. Is she the clingy type? And he's just like, no, not at all. I wouldn't say that. So it's the sigh of relief from Joel because it's something that he's just been really wanting to know. David asks Joel if he's the jealous type, and he says, oh no, not at all. I understand she's a very beautiful woman, and if we were to go together or be somewhere together in public, people are gonna look because she looks amazing. She chimes in and says, well, one of the things that needs to be communicated is that I think I'm really good with communicating, but I don't think Joel is good at communicating. She gives an example about one night where they were supposed to go out to eat or just hang out. She called Joel to see if they were still on and if things were still a go for the evening, but he never responded or called her back. She claims that Joel said that, hey, if I didn't respond, then that means that there's a change of plans. At least I tried to communicate, Venetia says. I can't automatically know what he meant, right? Joel says that, from that and how you're explaining it, yes, I could have communicated a little better. We move on to Alexis and Joseph. Now, he was the ex-boyfriend that she dated before her ex-husband. Joseph's reaction is hilarious as well as Ron enters the room. Joseph compliments their chemistry and can sense that there was something when he entered the room. He wants to start off with a few questions. How would you handle an argument? Ron says, I argue off of logic, and I really don't like to go back and forth. Joseph understands that, but shares a little detail about Alexis. Even when there's debates or things that you disagree on, she's the type of person that just wants to know that you care at the end of the day. Ron says, wow, are you super religious? Because I can feel the religion coming off the couch. And there's a little awkward laughter from Joseph, but he says, yes. Alexis gives a little insight and takes a moment to just say, well, I was the one that kind of really helped him and assisted him in his now faith and introducing him to the church. Ron says, well, I left the church. He explains to production that when he would go to church, he just saw greed, and that's all he saw. And also, he had a bad experience. He also feels that he's not dedicated to a church, and he doesn't need to pray about something. He can just go out and get it. We can tell from Alexis's body language that, these are some insights that I didn't see before. And Joseph says, well, this may be something that you both want to talk about a little bit more. Venetia has a friend who owns a nail bar and later on that evening invites the rest of the ladies who are available to talk and just relax. There's a sponsor plug for some alcohol and they make different drinks to describe your man. They have some different flavors that pay homage to height, skin color, and personality. Venetia wants to know, how is this experience for y'all and how is it making you feel? I'll just start. For me, I'm learning that things are pretty different when it comes to my emotions. I mean, I thought I had my emotions in check, but I guess not. But Kyra says you're a human being, you're a woman, you have emotions, and you're learning new things about yourself. I mean, that's not weird. That's just something that you're learning right now. Alexis says, I've noticed that we haven't had a taste of AJ. Everybody has a drink that describes everybody else but him. Kyra says, wow, that is interesting. But Venetia chimes in and says, girl, Kyra's not ready to let him go just yet. I mean, she's not ready to let him go. And Kyra agrees and says, yes, there is something there that I'm still feeling. I just don't know what's up. Liz throws a little shade by saying, well, let me get a little taste of Jason right now. Let me get a little taste, a little drink of that, since that kiss wasn't enough. And Kyra fires back and says, well, let me get a little taste of David. And Liz was just like, girl, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and get you a little taste. Kyra says, to production that everyone knows that Jason is my number one. So, okay. So she's making note that, girl, I shade for shade. I see what you're doing. Alexis is just like, wow, outside of that, ladies, am I the only one that hasn't been kissed? I mean, there's been little pecks and stuff here and there, but what's up with that? But Venetia says, hey, I'm in the same boat as you. I've gotten on the forehead, I've gotten on the cheek, so we're in the same boat. It's okay. So they all share a little key about everything that's been happening so far. Liz meets with her ex, Clarence, and they dated a while back, but as time went on, they let her realize that they're better off as friends. He spots the BS and takes no BS, and he's like a big brother. She gives him the latest news about David, but wants to share something important. She tells him that her and David clicked, but there was one situation that made her feel some type of way. When she met his friends off camera, he switched up on her. In front of his friends, he asked her, so what did you do today? And she explains that she got to meet Jason's friends. And he said, oh, did you kiss Jason again? In front of his friends, which made her feel embarrassed. That was a red flag to her. And she shared that with David in private, in pure confidence. It didn't feel like that was fair. She didn't like that at all. Clarence shows that he's very displeased that, wow, how can somebody say something so private and confidential and then he mentions it in front of the friends? That's not cool. David arrives and no one is exactly jumping up to see him with excitement. It's an odd quietness and stillness in the room, but Clarence still gets up to introduce himself. Then Liz more formally introduces Clarence, her ex, to David. Anybody can tell that David's feathers are ruffled by even Clarence being present. Clarence says, it's a pleasure to meet you, but I do have some questions. But David interrupts and says, so I guess it's not pleasant or a pleasure to meet me now? But you know what? Before we begin, before you ask me any questions, you're Liz's ex, so how long has it been since you two were intimate? There's a pause, and Clarence just kind of looks around like, is this guy serious? He's taken back by the question, but he does answer it. He says that they kissed, but that was years ago. Liz says in the production clip that, wow, she can tell that when she told him about the kiss with Jason, that he felt some type of way. She asked him, was he okay and how he felt, but he just said that everything was cool and everything wasn't a big deal. Apparently not. Clarence begins and says, how do you feel about communication? He responds by saying, well, when I tell a woman anything that has to do with me, I feel like I need to be able to talk to her and she can keep whatever I tell her in a safe place. Clarence says, okay, so do you feel that you're a safe place for her? David's just like, yeah, of course. Clarence updates him that prior to his arrival, she shared with him about when she told him something in confidence, a kiss with somebody else, and she felt betrayed when you mentioned it in front of your friends. How do you explain? And if you've been a safe place, why would you do that? And were there indications, such as body language, in which you could get an idea that she was uncomfortable by you doing such a thing? David says no, there wasn't any indication that she was uncomfortable, and, she didn't show any signs of discomfort to me. David then turns to Liz and pretty much in a nutshell gives this monologue about how he thinks that she matters and everything about her platform and who she is and that she's a solid person. And I mean everything that I'm saying. But as he's speaking, it's really obvious that everything that he's saying is going in one ear and out the other. Liz makes a note to production and says his words feels like pretty much like he's trying to convince me about being genuine, but he's really deflecting his error. Liz felt very uncomfortable in that situation. David then asked for the strength in the room to be brought down, but Clarence says, Well, I don't know how to do that because I'm an alpha man. I don't know how to be weak. Liz says that it's a lot to process, and David says that he's going to leave, and he's very furious when he makes a production clip and saying that, you know what, I don't want a third party involved. If we need to talk, it just needs to be one-on-one, just me and her. After he leaves, Clarence says, you can't be one way in private and then another way in public. I mean, you got to ask yourself, Liz, how do you know the real him? It's Kyra's turn with her ex, Timothy. And as soon as they sit down, the questions begin. Tim wants to know, well, how long have you been single? Are you dating? Jason's like, it's been a year and a half since I've really dated, and I'm looking for a wife at this point in my life. How do you think Kyra handles stress? Tim goes on to explain that she's not the one to really let things go, possibly allowing things to linger, and it could possibly affect the relationship. Jason is big on communication, and maybe Kyra isn't the one to do so. He then goes on to talk about finances, and he asks Tim, well, what is your insight about that? He says, well, Kyra knows how much money she has, but unfortunately doesn't budget so well. But, it's different with different people. Jason, maybe you two getting to know one another, maybe you can share some budgeting techniques for an ultimate financial goal. Jason makes a note to production that, wow, you can spend money on a trip, but my concern with Kyra is, but are your bills paid? Jason thanks Tim for his time and all of the honest notations. Kyra admits to production that she is uncomfortable with them talking about the issues with budgeting, but admits that's something that she's worked on and she's getting better at it. It's time for Amber and her ex, Tony. Chris arrives, they start the small talk, and they start talking about children. Chris says that he would love to have about 3 to 5 kids, and Amber is okay with that. She's more open and interested in being a mom than being a wife. Chris notices that the energy at the table is just a little bit off. It seems as if Tony and Amber are kind of walking on eggshells when discussing and saying that they're exes. Amber says that it's just because of some obstacles that they shared in the past. That's why the energy is off. Tony opens up and says that later in their relationship, he realized that he was interested in men, and Amber felt that she needed to remain there as a friend for him during a difficult time and transitioning in his life. Chris finds that Amber's reaction to such a thing in her relationship is beautiful and makes her more interesting as a person, because Tony admitted to her that her patience was greatly appreciated. Amber makes a production note that she was happy that Chris was open to hearing their conversation and their viewpoints. It's double date time. Liz and Jason and Alexis and AJ. Alexis feels unsure about AJ and feels that he's still a mystery to her when it comes to this whole process. Jason admits that he's confused when it comes to Kyra and Liz, but admits to everybody else that he likes Liz more and more each day. He has enjoyed every single date, and he says that while looking Liz right in the eye. He leans in for a kiss with Liz, but Liz just gives him her cheek. Alexis does admit that AJ gives her butterflies and that she feels the energy there, but it's just confusion. She tells him, hey, to be honest, I think that we would share something special, but it's this gut feeling that you would just break my heart. And everybody at the table is just like, oh, okay. She starts to go on and kind of keep rambling about how she feels, but AJ grabs her hand and he leans in to give her a very passionate kiss. Alexis was shocked that he did such a thing, but enjoys it and says that, basically it's about time. AJ says that, hey, I'm listening to you and I hear your concerns, but I'm telling you right here, right now, I want to pursue you. He says, I haven't, but I'm letting you know that's how I feel and that's where I stand. Alexis says to production, now I'm confused because during this whole process, Tommy told us that we have the people that we like and then to just start dating somebody that we typically wouldn't like. And just everything that happened with that is just has me confused. We are back at the beautiful Miles estate. They invite the ladies back for some good food and champagne. And Tommy admits that I've been waiting all week to hear about these dates, ladies, with the exes. So please let me know what happened. They start with Venetia and she says that, it was a good date. My ex David had a chance to meet with Joel. And one of the main things that Joel brought up, like as soon as possible, and he wanted to know if I was clingy. And my ex confirmed that I wasn't clingy. So hopefully Joel has clarity in anything that he wanted to know. Alexis says that there's just a very sticky situation and things that she needs to talk about. Now, I had an opportunity for Ron to meet my ex before I was married. He basically brought up faith and we talked about that, and just the dialogue was just really weird. He doesn't feel too hot about religion and feels that if there's something that he wants in life that he just prays for it. And I'm just bothered by that. It's just something that I just don't feel that it just went too smoothly. I'm a believer, and of course the person that I'm with, I would want them to be a believer as well. And he said that we were just dripping in religion. And that's just something that I didn't want, to just have that energy of. I don't want to come off as this judgmental Christian. Tommy interjects and says that, look, is this gonna be an issue or something that comes up every Sunday? Let me explain what I mean. You have your views and you have your traditions and things that you do, going to church, whatever may be the case. But when those days come about, is there gonna be friction every week between you two? When my wife and I first got this house, one of the first thing that we did was we invited friends over and we prayed about it. Because that's just who we are. So you have a lot of things that you need to pray and think about. If that's one of the main things that you want in your life as a foundation, you have to make some decisions. Liz reports that her date with the ex was intense. She explains how Clarence behaves as if he was the big brother because that's the relationship that they have. Liz says that I should have said when it came to David that he has my interests due to our commonalities, that he doesn't have my heart. His actions and the things that he said, there were some things that I told David in private, in confidence, and he mentioned those things in front of his friends. And that just made me feel very uncomfortable. Tommy says, when I told y'all that getting to know somebody, you have to ask those important questions and not just look at the surface and kind of like an onion, get to know all of those layers. We get into those layers, ladies. So I got to ask an important question, and it's time to get serious. If you had to go home with the gentleman that you wanted tonight, who would that gentleman be? Kyra says Jason, and Liz says Jason as well. Kyra says to production, really? Do y'all even have a connection? Where's all this coming from? Of course, Venetia says Joel, Amber says Chris, and Alexis says, I was surprised at the lip lock between me and AJ. Just the butterflies. It was just, ooh, and she's just talking about the kiss, and Kyra just downs her champagne at that point. Really? Another guy that I'm interested in, and people getting kisses and everybody having good dates? Like what? Jacqueline makes an important note that, ladies, when you're trying to make a difficult decision, the best advice I can give to you is just to listen to your gut. Go with that gut instinct and just let it go from there. It's something that we all have. Go with it. Woo, and buckle your seatbelts for this last scene of this episode. We have Alexis and Ron to speak, Liz and David to speak. We're going to start with Alexis and Ron. They sit down and Alexis makes it perfectly clear that, hi, I want to be as transparent yet as cordial as possible while explaining my feelings. There were a few comments that you said that made me rethink some things, but the main comment was that, wow, you dripping in religion. I mean, it came off as condescending. She wants the man to be the spiritual lead, and especially for her son, because that's her preference and how she will raise him. Ron says, well, maybe that's because you haven't experienced a divine masculinity in your home. And I want something, that I can go out and go get. I don't have to pray for it. I can just go out and get it. He also makes the note to production that you can't sit there and pray and say, I'm going to pray for you and all that because I'm going to go get it. I mean, you do what works for you. Ron also shares that he didn't like the comment she made in saying that she was interested in him because he picked her. Like, do you need validation? He feels that both of them have said condescending things to each other. There's back and forth that's just kind of really toxic of Alexis and Ron saying certain comments. And it's out of anger, and it's also revealing the true selves and identities of who they are. Alexis says that, I wanted to make sure that I'm showing you what I can offer you and bring you. And Rob says, can't offer me anything. And it's just kind of like, wow. And Alexis is just like, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's kind of like this really condescending kind of energy. But they cut that off. They cut that scene off to jump to Liz and David. Liz says to production that it's been a while since they've talked, and this is something that they really need because David hasn't talked to her. She's called him to try to talk and communicate, especially after the dinner with her ex, but he hasn't responded. So they just need to clear the air and talk about a lot of things. When David sits down, before Liz could even speak, he's saying, well, let me lead. Let me lead the conversation. I really want to. And they literally go back and forth. She's like, no, I invited you here. I really want to talk to you. He's like, no. Let me lead. Liz, let me lead. She's like, no, what are you talking about? Just calm down. David, it's okay. Just let me lead. You're a gentleman, aren't you? I just need you to be a gentleman and let me speak. As she's speaking, he's constantly just going over her. No. Let me speak. No, let me lead. No. He even stands up and is saying this to her like, no, let me lead. No. I mean, he's just really, really trying to overpower her. And she's speaking very calmly, very low, like, no, David, let me. He's like, no, let me. And it's just this awkward lean in twice to try to kiss her. And Liz is just like, no, wait, David. And it says to be continued. And that is the end of the episode. Woo! Now it is time. It is time for your favorite part of the video, my review, you guys. And the amazing Bunzini of seeing the future strikes again. OMG. I hope that when you watch this episode, you were shaking your head and saying to yourself, Bunny was right. She was right yet again. If you are new to this channel, I need you to go back a few episodes in my reviews and listen to all of those. This was predicted by me. It was predicted that these behaviors would come out about David, about Ron, about everybody. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. David and Ron. Passive aggressive, passive aggressive. Yay! I told y'all this was gonna happen. I told y'all that David and everybody, you need counseling. Everybody needs counseling. You need a therapist, and you need a therapist, and you need a therapist. Everybody got problems on this season. I'm trying to tell you, and I'm gonna line them all up. I'm going to line them all up along the wall and let them know what they need. Let's start with David. Why not? Why not start with Mr. Passive Aggressive number 1, okay? David, you knew what you was doing when you said those comments in front of your friends. You felt some type of way because she kissed Jason, right? And you wanted to embarrass her in front of your friends. That's what you did. You wanted to embarrass her in front of your friends. And you wanted her to emotionally feel a little bit of anger and discomfort that you felt. Instead of being real and saying, man, dang, that really bothers me that you kissed old dude. Instead of saying that, you wanted to be passive aggressive, embarrass her, be condescending to her. Somebody that you valued, quote unquote, somebody that you were digging. You didn't do that because that's what type of guy that you are, right? You use that realm of Christianity as the defense mode. That's your guidance. That's your spiritual forum and platform, right, for your life when it comes to morals, right? And the way of living. When it comes to relationships, you don't have that down, bruh. And I can tell that your friends behave just like you. Now, the young lady that was in the last episode that had the curly hair, the curly fro that was at the table, she looked like she didn't want to be there, for you. She looked like she was like, I know he crazy, but whatever. My other friend is here. Because remember, I said in the last review that his friend said, oh, she this age, she this, and she don't have no kids. What's wrong with her? They're friends for a reason, okay? They're buddy for a reason. And to sit there in that last episode, and when Liz asked the friends, okay, do you feel that David, even with his past relationships and his marriages, that he's ready for a relationship? And the guy said, oh yeah, he's ready. You ain't no real friends, okay? Because honesty is what's important. When it comes to friendships, you don't want yes friends, okay? David got yes friends. Either y'all yes friends or y'all all passive aggressive and crazy, okay? And David, you just need counseling. I've said that in episodes, and people like, why you saying he need counseling? Ain't nothing wrong with him. He a Christian and he ain't nothing wrong with him. He's saying what he want. I'm like, okay. Y'all don't see these behaviors? Y'all don't see all these red flags all over the place? Let me move on to Liz. Sister, I said in the last episode that you're Christian and you're saying all of these things that you want and all this other stuff, but you were looking past the religion and things that y'all had in common from things that he was saying. This man was saying red flags about privacy and all this other stuff. When what was the girl that left that was shocked and had that date with David when he said that, oh, I need passwords and all that stuff? That lady, when she told the ladies that, hey, when I talk to David and he has issues with trust and he wants passwords and all this other stuff, did that go in one ear and out the other? You was offended by that, like, oh, I have no problem with that and I have no secrets. Now, did you heard what she said? Oh, her name was Stacy. You heard what she said, and all the other ladies had a problem with it. It was like, oh, yeah, that's trust issues. That's this. When you was on the date with David and he said, I just don't want him to leave me. I like you. And and that man had problems with trust and all that stuff. You look past all that. The blame goes both ways. I've been saying that ladies are looking at the wrong things and not hearing what men are saying. Look, men are not complicated. Okay? Men are not complicated when they're saying what they want and when they want it. Okay? Men want food, sex, silence. That's it. Women, we are the complicated ones. We are the ones that go and we could tell you a story about how we went to the store, and that would be an hour-long conversation. But a man would tell you, what David Chappelle say, when, what, where, how. That's it. That's the end of the story. Okay? Say what you mean what you say. Okay? Because I grew up with men, all right? And I got used to being the only girl around and listening how they talked and how they communicated. And then when I would be around women, I'm like, why is this story so long? Like, what are you talking? Why are we doing all that? Liz, I'm glad that you finally saw the light and said, I should have said we have things in common. And I shouldn't have said that he had my heart. Yes, boo. That's why you've been in so many situationships. So you mean to tell me if a guy tells you, oh, I go to church and I love God, and blah, 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 that's it? That's all you need? Like, come on, son. Now, let's move on to Clarence. After that night, okay, when he turned into an alpha wolf, I would have eliminated myself and gave Clarence the business that night. On the floor, on the couch, on the bed, in the car, outside, in an Uber and a Lyft. Do you want a child and fries with that, Clarence? Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people felt that same way. Ooh, Clarence, he stood up for her and he said, I don't know how to be weak. And ooh. And all of y'all services was feeling some type of way. Y'all got vibrations just like everybody else. But let me skirt on that whole situation, right? Alpha men aren't designed and for everybody, okay? There are parameters and rules for an alpha male. When I want an alpha man, I want this, but can you handle an alpha man? Probably not. There's only so many alphas on the planet, and men who think they alphas, they not. They exes for a reason. Okay, and he's gone into big brother mode for a reason. There's a reason why they are not together. Stop thinking with your cervix. Men, they say, oh, y'all think with the other head. Women, we do that too. So before y'all go jumping off of a bridge trying to land on Clarence, chill. Okay, because I'm pretty sure Clarence got a few layers as well to that onion, because I thought the same thing. I was like, ooh. He said, I don't know how to be weak. I was like, oh, what? Is he by himself? I mean, what's really going on? Pump the brakes, okay? I did love how he defended her in that situation, because David buckled down like, can we calm the strength in the room? Who says that? Who says that? Can we calm down the strength? And he tried, notice how he tried to take control of the conversation before Clarence got started. Well, first, before you go there, I just need to know, have y'all been intimate? What? Liz and him could have been intimate before they got to the restaurant, and that still wouldn't have been none of your business, because you are not her man. You need therapy. Who we need to talk to next? Let me take a brain commercial break in my head. Okay, Ready to Love. I saw that sponsored drink plug. It was okay, because y'all already had the drinks in mind, which I was gonna serve anyway. So y'all just poured the drink, made the drink for commercial purposes, and you gave them to the ladies. Stop playing. Also, just a little something. The chairs in the nail bar, they looked hella uncomfortable. Look, I'm 5 feet tall, and I would have been on the floor trying to reach my feet in that bowl. Anywho, let's move on to Miss Kyra. Kyra! Man, it's the same thing. Jason, after he heard about your budget problems, I know Jason was thinking in my head, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you my ad. No, you're going on trips. Are you paying your bills? I don't want none of your time. Girl, are you paying your bills? Are you paying your telephone bills? Are you paying your automobiles? Girl, what are you doing? Men, it's the same way when it comes to women. The outside package could look good, you know what I'm saying? But underneath it all, is her house clean? Is she looking, makeup is on point, but is she washing her butt? All of that stuff is important. You have to look at all of it. Kyra, you may have to go to Ross or TJ Maxx to flex for a while. I even, Expedia.com, girl, they be having some bundles on there. Girl, when you get the hotel, the plane, and the whatever. Look, I discuss budgeting and image and all this stuff on my podcast show, which I'll link below in the pinned comment and also in the description. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. On image and feeling like you got to do all of this stuff when in actuality you need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure everything else is straight. You could tell that Tim was still feeling some type of way, like she got money. She know how much money she got, but she don't know how to budget. Ooh, men and women, you have got to get counseling before jumping into relationships. When you've been in a lot of situationships and relationships, they sink your ship. You have got to prepare yourself, okay, and be ready before you're talking about having kids and bringing people in your life. You have to do that. If you're making the same mistakes over and over again, what Iyanla say? Iyanla Van Zant say? It's you, boo. Look, Amber and Chris, they hippies, which is cool. I'm a hippie. Look, people have to understand, not everybody views life the same and the fluidity of life. I'm a big person on not having, I gotta have this in 5 years, I gotta do this in a year, I gotta have this child, because life goes up and down, up and down. You have got to live your life and what makes you happy. Not everybody is a Christian. Now what if somebody on there that was a Muslim, right? And what if they said, oh, well, being a Muslim is important in my life, so are you gonna convert or not? Like, come on now. It's a lot of Christians on the show, but what if it was flipped and it was a Muslim on the show, or a Buddhist, or something? You know what I mean? Would you be so quick to live how they live? Or would you get to know that person and say, okay, I'm not really converting the whole equally yoked thing, y'all tripping. Y'all just tripping on the equally yoked thing. Y'all letting that decide. Y'all done passed up a lot of good people because their current lifestyle didn't match yours. You know how many people are in very happy relationships to where neither one of them were believers, and over time they got yoked and became this. Don't get me started. Find somebody that makes you happy. Introduce your faith to that other person, because that's what you want to do, right? That's your lifestyle, which is cool. If it's not your lifestyle, you're not cool with that, move on, because people are going to feel like you forcing them. This whole situation with Ron, he said once again how he felt. Now, Alexis, you claim that you and Ron was having all these long conversations and talking, and y'all connect, and you was digging him. What was y'all talking about? Was it a pick up the phone? The ladies are waiting for you. Call us right now. We're ready and we're hot. Call us at 1-800. Was it that kind of conversation? Because what was y'all talking about? Y'all was talking about everything but that. Why is it such a shock now? If y'all done had all these conversations, right? You know him so well. What was y'all talking about? Clearly not that, because you act like it was a punch in the face when he said, oh, I'll go out and get it. I ain't gonna pray about it. What was y'all talking about? Girl, call me. Let me know. Because it wasn't that. I can guarantee you it wasn't that. Because if it was, you wouldn't be surprised. Okay? Ron's behavior is not surprising because he's behaved the same way. You were so focused on being number one. I mean, number one. You're my number one. You're not number one. Girl, you're my number one. He's my number girl. He's not number one. Focus on the wrong thing. Ladies, you gotta take that responsibility. And when it hit her in the face talking to Tommy and she getting the tissue like, girl, the decisions you make have backfired. Now you're realizing he ain't nothing. Now you're going to the default of AJ. Look, let me tell you something. I honestly believe that Ray J is a good guy. He just has a lot to work on. He seems very shy when it comes to communicating, right? He may look a certain way and may have been with a whole bunch of women and lived the rock star life and been blah, 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 blah. But I got a good feeling that's not really who AJ is. I don't think he knows who he is. That's why when he talks to people and he's just kind of like a little shy and a little this, he's probably just unaware of how to even have a meaningful or a good relationship. That's what I think was going on with AJ. And if it were me, I'm not going to be a relationship first class 101. I'm not going to be your guinea pig. That's just, if you in another point in your life, Alexis, you sound like you in another point in your life. Don't wait on AJ to develop and grow. It don't matter how old you are. Don't wait on somebody to develop and grow. That's what's going on with AJ. If you pick AJ, be ready for somebody that's still developing and growing and learning in who they are, because that's what you're going to be with. Are you prepared to be with a man like that with a son? Because the male influence in the house, you want to make sure that they know who they are, because your son will see everything. All right, so think about that, boo. Who else we want to talk about? Gummy Jason. Yes, all gums. You're doing the same thing that Kyra was doing. You was talking about, I don't know who to decide. I don't know if it's gonna be Kyra or if it's gonna be Liz. He told the same thing to both women. I'm serious about it. I'm pursuing you. I'm for real. You tell the same thing to both women. Now, do they know that you telling them the same thing? Probably not. Quit acting like you got both women in the bag, because he think he does, but he don't. When he leaned into Liz to give her that kiss on the cheek, to give her a kiss, and she moved her mouth to the side so he could give her a peck on the cheek. Liz is so checked out. She's checked out. She holding his hand or whatever like that. But I think it provided some comfort over such an uncomfortable situation with David. Defaults. Like I've been saying, all the people that are left are defaults, and there are no true connections with the people that are left. None. I don't think that any of the people that are there are meant for each other or have an interest in each other besides Chris and Amber. And I still think that's whack because they agree on a lot of stuff, right? I don't think that matches. Who else we gonna talk about? Woo, because I need to talk about everybody. I need to talk about everybody. Oh, Vernicia, yes, my friend. Girl, I think your ex lied because y'all was on TV. When Joel asked, is she clinging, baby? Baby, is she clinging? Baby, is she, baby? And that dude said, oh, no, she's not. It was a little pause there. He lying. He trying to look out for you. Girl, you clingy as hell. And you're real passive aggressive too, because you acting like that's your man. That's not your man. And you're like, girl, I done got a peck here and on the forehead and all this stuff. Girl, you ever seen that movie, He's Just Not That Into You? Me neither, but I could guess the movie just from the title. Joel's just not that into you. The same situation that happened last season. What was that girl's name? We found out she was five months pregnant on the show. Where she was like, he said he was going to come back to my room and watch a movie and he ain't come back. That's because he's not interested. Joel wasn't interested. Y'all was supposed to go out to eat or whatever y'all want to go and he ain't call you back. Girl, that man went to sleep. He was not trying to hang out with you. He's not into you. After you, let's just say your ex honestly feels that you're not clingy. Okay, cool. But you've displayed to Joel that you're very territorial. You said that. You think that's your man. You think about marriage. You all ready to go down the aisle. And Joel was like, skr. Okay? A man is going to let you know if he's interested. Okay? He will let you know. Okay? He will make, I don't care if he tired and he been working 12 hours, 16 hours. He gonna find 2 minutes to call you and be like, man, I'm tired as hell, but I love you, girl. He gonna make some time. Girl, he went to sleep. He wasn't trying to go nowhere with you because I was hungry and I wonder why he didn't call. He didn't want to. Girl, he didn't want to hang out with you that day, girl. So much so that he didn't even communicate that with you. Okay? Woo! All y'all getting on my nerves. All y'all. I think I done went over everything. Oh, one more thing. Girl, Miss Jacqueline, I saw how you tried to, you ain't tried, you did several times when you was shouting out to AKA. I saw you, girl, rep it. Okay, we saw you. She was like, it's time for the tea. And she was showing her pinky. Go ahead, girl. Go on and flex. It's all good. But I think I got everybody down. I think I got everybody down. The whole show needs to be revamped. I've said this over and over and over again with the past few seasons of this Ready to Love show. It shouldn't be called Ready to Love. It should be called Married, Divorced, Kids, and Ready to Love Again. I think they should revamp this show. I think, once the pandemic has done its due, and they got another one I think that's going to be in Washington. I think that they have another casting thing in Washington or something like that. Okay, after that one, okay, y'all need to have it somewhere tropical. Okay, y'all need to have it to where they're at a resort where they could be free willy. Everybody could just do what they want to do. They have dates and all this other stuff, but it needs to be a mixture of different ages. It needs to be so many different personalities on that show, and they need to set up their own dates with certain people, right? Not with production helping them and them setting up these rented houses with just the table set up with food and no pictures of nobody and just furniture. We tired of these fake sets and fake houses, okay? And they could set up their own dates and they could just blah, blah, blah. And it kind of be like a reality show, the real world setting where it's cameras everywhere and all the rooms and you just let them, just be free and do what they want to do and talk amongst themselves. And it doesn't have to be a little, what is it called? A mediator. Well, what'd you think about this date? And how you feel about this? Let's go to the lounge. Nah, boring. They need to have it as a real world setting where it's cameras everywhere, a Big Brother, that show, and they just do whatever they want, talk to everybody, because then people can really act the way that they want to act. If it's cameras everywhere in their face and you're like, oh, tell us about that date and tell us about this date. Of course, they're going to be there like, oh, let me put on my best face because we're sitting down and we're talking to the host and we're talking to the wife. And no. Then every week, right, they can kind of do that same thing where they submit votes into a box. Come come on now. Y'all need to tag. Y'all need to tag on Instagram. The keeping it real and the own people let them know, hey, Bunny keeps it real. She has not been wrong any season. We're predicting who would be together and people that ought to get together, but they didn't need to be together. I was right about last season. Everything that I said was 100% completely correct. Now look at Simone and Rashid on Instagram or YouTube sitting down talking. I was like, I said that those two were the ones that really needed to be together. I said that from the beginning. Look at them on Instagram kicking it every week. Boy, I tell you. Look, that's it. I ain't got nothing else to say. This was longer than usual because people was acting a donkey this week. A donkey. Subscribe. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next, and also personal stuff that's going on with my life, pictures of myself and all the other stuff. Like this video, share with people, okay? And make sure you leave your comments down below because I can't wait to see what y'all thought about this. Lord, I fell asleep last night. That's why I ain't get to post this. My bad. I woke up and it was another day. I said, ooh, I was tired. Anyway, take care of yourself and each other. Until next time, make sure that you check out those pinned shows below. Make sure that you check out shows that you normally wouldn't watch. I'm doing the recaps and reviews for Hulu's original series, The Handmaid's Tale. That show right there. Oh my goodness. I need some of y'all to watch this so we can debate and talk about that show. It's a 13 Emmy award winning show. It's absolutely amazing. The cinematography, everything's amazing with that show. Okay. I need you to binge watch, start from season 1 and just watch the whole thing. Okay. And, yeah, check out other stuff. And we also have some new shows that are starting soon. If you're just here for Ready to Love, that's cool. I'll see y'all next week and all that good stuff. Enjoy your weekend, okay? After you watch this, disconnect from social media. Get you some sunlight. Just chill. Read a book. Do something. Kick it. Don't think about work. Don't think about nothing else. Just heal yourself, okay? In the meantime, take care of yourself and each other. Love y'all. Bye. Okay, wait a minute. Bonus round, bonus feature. I got to say one more thing. Joelle, what you have on when you came to that date? What was that? You went from now everybody in the club getting tipsy, and then you on this day you walked in looking like, hello neighbor. I thought you was gonna take off your shoes and switch them to sneakers and the train trolley come in and the mailman was gonna come by. Y'all was gonna go to the factory and see how crayons was made. What did you have on? Then you had the reading glasses on? What was you doing? What was you doing, baby? I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who you was when you walked in. And in the hat? Was we going on a train afterwards? What was you? Okay, I'm done. Bye.